Hello and welcome to you. It is time to get in to the Navy Blue review, and joined as always for episode number 3 by the big man JA. He's been down to the AFL store and he's
got some new merch. I tried to find a t-shirt, couldn't find a t-shirt.
They got some good retro stuff there as well at the AFL store.
They have the old school Hyundai slicker jacket. Yeah. And they only had extra small. So I don't know if anyone's ever not going to probably see me in person, but I'm maybe the furthest from an extra small you've ever seen in both length and rotundness. So
yeah, it runs in the family.
Correct. So
got a bit of a pep in our step because first win on the board for the AFL season. Because as we all know, we're the premierships of February, so we are. That's gone into the real stuff. That's when the hard work begins. And yeah, we can jump straight in. Blues getting over the Tigers 10-15-75 to 9-17-71. What were your first sort of thoughts when the siren went, we won the game? What was your sort of first feelings going into that?
Well, it did feel bittersweet. I'd be lying if I said that. I think I said with about 5 minutes left that I don't know if I'm going to feel any different whether we win or lose this game. That was a lie. I felt much better that we won because at the end of the day, it's 4 points in our pocket. They can't take it away from us now. And I think it would have been far, far, far worse if we'd lost that game in terms of the team morale. When I saw the guys in the room celebrating, I thought, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Like they had so many good moments, but I was concerned about, again, I hope this isn't going to keep being a trend, but it's been a trend the last 2 weeks, is that how do we get over this second half? Like we go off a cliff in the second half, and I can't even put my finger on why it happens. I really can't. So that's what concerns me still.
Yeah, and I mean, we can sort of delve into it a little bit more, and we might find that, I think what's happening with the team a lot is how they're sort of coming out after the second half. And we were sort of talking about it pre-show that a few of these guys come out and I think are just so highly strung that they're sort of worried about making the mistakes that they were happy to make in the first half. And you see it with, like we were mentioning it earlier, like guys like, Fogarty and Lewis Young, sort of our bottom enders at the moment. And yeah, they haven't been playing great, those guys we just mentioned. But when it comes into the second half, they're like, oh, if I make a mistake here, I'm going to lose my spot in the team. And I think that sort of aura hanging over everyone is just, and as George Hewitt said after the game, they know they're fit enough, they know they're good enough, but just that mental demon of what's going to happen is just lingering. So it's obviously there, and it's, what do they say? When something keeps happening, it's a trend. So it's obviously, it's not fake anymore. It's a realistic thing that happens. So,
and I think one thing we can touch on for that second half was the Tom Lynch factor, that he missed a lot of goals. With all, I went back and watched this again because I love torturing myself, and Carlton missed 6 or 7 very, very, very easy goals in the second. In particular, at the end of the third quarter and the start of the fourth quarter, when they could have really just put the game on ice. Cripps missed 2 very easy ones. Mackay missed a gettable one that I would expect him to kick as our full forward. Fogarty missed on the top of the square when he hit the post. Like, you kick those 5 goals, and it was kind of 5 shots, and every time they missed, Richmond went up the end and somehow got a goal. And they, to be quite frank, they tin-assed a lot of goals too. Like, Layla kicked one from the boundary that the ball just bounced to him in a contest, and he threw it on the boot and went through. So there was a bit of the mythical going against us as well, which happens when another team gets on a run. It really feels like we can't do anything right, and everything they touch turns to gold. And that's what it did feel that way, especially in that third quarter. yeah, if we want to bring up Lynch missing a bunch of goals, then you need to do it both ways. All right, let's let Lynch kick 5-7, and let us kick 5-2 in the third quarter as well. The game's over. It doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
I understand the theory behind it, that he had opportunities late, but also they were forced very wide a lot. All his shots were from very wide because, I don't know if it was the right move or not, but playing Wiedering not on Lynch allowed him to sit, 30 out inside 50, force Richmond literally didn't want to kick it to him. They were terrified to kick it at him. So it forced everything wide, make it hard to set shots, which I think I think that was the game plan when you didn't play Wiedering on Lynch. I don't know what you think of that game plan, Tom, but I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tough one because you run the risk of putting Wiedering onto Lynch and then you feel confident with the one-on-one structure there. But I think what you've also got to look at is how much Wiedering came over and affected a lot of contests as the third man up. Because at the end of the day, without Wiedering, where Lewis Young, Harry Dean, an undercooked Lockie Cowan as your tall defenders. And I think with that, in that regard, having Wiedering as your sort of roaming defender, I think changes things. And then you go in a few weeks' time, you have Nick Haynes back, you have Nick Newman back, and then all of a sudden Wiedering can start playing as that lockdown defender again because he has Nick Haynes, who is a very, very good roll-off defender. So I think you've got to look at it in that regard where, yeah, it's not ideal. You always want your best defender playing on their best forward, but having that third man up option, there was a lot of times Wiedering rolled over and saved a lot of contests as well. Like Lynch could have kicked 2 goals, 10, if Wiedering didn't come over a few times and save some things. So you got to sort of look at it in 2 regards there. But
hey, I think if they played Wiedering on Lynch, I don't think Lewis Young could have done the role that Wiedering did. And I don't want to shit on Lewis Young every week. I really don't. He took a very good mark late in the game. It was pretty much the game winner late in the game, which, and I said last week, I'm going to continue to say this, is that I think what frustrates me so much about Lewis Young is I think he actually has the ability. I think he's tall, he's athletic, he's very skilled, he reads the ball well, he's in position a lot. He's just, I think that the right word is timid. And timid doesn't mean you're scared. It just means you're worried about making a mistake. He worried himself out of being a good football player. And that's what annoys me the most, because I think if he can get past that mental block of, you know what, I'm just going to go for everything. I'm just going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to grab every time the football's in front of me. Like watch Harry Dean in his second game. Every time the ball's there to be won, whether he wins it or not, it's a different story. But the endeavour is to win it and get it to another current player, get the ball moving forward. That's where Lewis Young frustrates me. But I was really happy he, in fairness, he undercut another one late and didn't get to it. And then I was ready to absolutely tear shreds off him. And the next kick he actually marked. So I'm glad he took that mark. It kind of, took him out of my targets a little bit. But he's certainly the very worrying part of that back six.
Yeah, and I mean, you've made a good point there as well by sort of double downing on how you said he ran under the ball, but the fact that he still has the confidence and his team has the confidence to put him in that position to take that mark late is, I think, a testament to, I think, the coaching staff. Sometimes they get knocked about at Carlton a lot, but to probably send a runner out to him and be like, hey, mate, you missed that one, but we want you going again and marking that ball and then winning the game, essentially. So you have that sort of, and that's sport, unfortunately. You're always going to have another moment to do something, and it's about taking that next moment instead of just being like, oh, well, I made a mistake last time, I'm not going to do it this time. That's where guys never play. Yeah, that's
100%. And certainly not at the professional level. You can't be like that because there's too many guys coming through. You just won't last long. So that's a frustrating part of the game. I think positives, I think if there's 2 guys that really need to be mentioned. I want to start with Cripps because I thought he responded so well from the criticism last week. If he'd just been able to kick a couple of goals in that third quarter, we're probably having the conversation that throwing Cripps forward worked perfectly because it did.
Correct.
He got the ball. He also was running into a wide open goal, and I personally think he got shoved in the back as he kicked it, which then went awry and went for a point as well. So he could have really kicked 3 goals. That would have been the nail in the coffin for that game. So it was a bit disappointing he couldn't do that. But in terms of his centre work, his clearance work, I thought he was pretty 9 clearances, which was easily the best at Carlton and easily the best on the field. So I thought he was pretty outstanding. His feed, and then obviously his feed to Jagga Smith. Like it looks like, I don't want to jump too early, but it looks like this kid's really, really got it.
Yeah, and I think that was when you sort of talk about Cripps, like people say that, you know, he misses shots on goal and he hasn't got the speed to get away from a contest and stuff. I think when you go back to his Brownlow years, especially his 2022 year, he was very prominent on the scoreboard every week, and 1 or 2 goals. And I think that was everyone's biggest knock on him, was being, Bontempelli goes forward, kicks goals, and all these big midfielders.
20 goals in 2020, in 2022, sorry, when he won the Brownlow.
So I think that is a big thing that you sort of look at how he operates.
And 17 in 2004 when he won the Brownlow again, which are his 2 highest totals by over 10 goals. So
and that's what I mean. I don't think, and it was a bit unfair last week how much sort of that he was, he's at the end, he's washed and all this sort of thing. But champion players will always show you that no matter, even today, to talk about another game, Max Gawn, everyone, the talk of the town has been Tom de Koning, but Max Gawn was like, hey, I'm still the best ruckman in this caper.
Sometimes other players are really good too.
Yeah. So I think I agree. I think Cripps had a really good game. I also want to shout out, I reckon Matty Carroll coming back off the half-back line really did a lot of good things in the first half, especially. Probably ran out of legs a bit. But that's going to happen coming off injury. So did Lockie Cowan. I think Lockie Cowan's I've said it, for a year and a bit now. I think he's the key of the future for Carlton. Like, he's going to be your going forward general that doesn't like to get beaten in a contest, really takes the game on. He's sort of a good mix of Wiedering and Newman about how he plays. So he looked a bit underdone as well, and I think that's where the backline got a bit stretched in that second half, just those guys sort of going out of the game a bit. But should we I know people who aren't Carlton supporters aren't going to like us talking about it, but who cares? It's our brand new toy we like to talk about. Should we just talk about Jagga Smith's game? Like, he's
unreal. Do you know what I was thinking about today? I was thinking about how much do I want to overreact to how fucking good he is, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I came up with from his first 2 games. So in NFL, they call it, when they're drafting players, they call it a ceiling and a floor. So your ceiling is the best they think you can be, obviously not knowing, and your floor is the worst possible scenario. I think Jagga Smith's floor is Mark Murphy. I think that is as bad a player as he can be. I think he is already that good. And I think Mark Murphy was an outstanding player.
Absolutely.
So he wasn't the best Carlton player ever. He's probably not in the Carlton team of the century or decade or anything like that, but he's flirting with the fringe of it. He's well known. Everyone will know who Mark Murphy is if you're a Carlton fan, right? And
absolutely.
His ceiling is Nick Dacos.
Yeah.
That's his ceiling right now, because no one's been more dominant in their first 2 games than Jagga Smith, except for Nick Dacos. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Nick Dacos. I hope he is. I hope he's even better. But I'm saying that is right now, watching his first 2 games, I think him being Mark Murphy, 300 gamer, he's going to be like a 300 gamer superstar player, future captain, is the worst case scenario for him. And the best case is that he's Nick Dacos. And after 2 games, if you can take that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. But that's how I'm reviewing him right now. And you can call me jumping the gun early. We know I don't jump the gun. We know I'm always on the fence. Nah, let's wait. He's a superstar. No, he just has that innate ability to know where to go to win the football. And a family friend of ours is Greg Diesel Williams, and he used to always tell this story of these guys that come down to Carlton and they could run this far and run this fast and do this and do that. And he just wants to be, well, can I get the ball? Well, I don't know. He averages 12 kicks a game. And he's like, yeah, well, no one cares how fast you can run if you get 12 kicks a game.
Yeah.
There are players that have it and there are players that don't have it. And Jagga's got it. He knows how to find the football. He knows where to go without the football to get the football. And he's one of those guys like a Dacos that every time you're just like, how was he in that spot? And I even thought in this, like his first quarter ever on the MCG, what fifth was it, 16 disposals?
16 disposals.
Kicked a goal, touched on the line, 50 out on the run. Like that would have torn the building down. I'm glad they reversed that because they might have destroyed the stands. But what more do you want from him in his first two games? I'd like tell us, people who listen, tell us what more do you want from him in his first two games? What more did you want him to show?
Yeah, and I mean, just to sort of piggyback on that, a couple of his stats, he led Carlton for score involvements with 11, which is, and the people that was close was Cripps. Cripps had 10. He had the most uncontested possessions. He went at a 68% disposal efficiency. I mean, you could argue that needs to be a bit better if you're going to get the ball as much. And that's, I think, what's going to lift him to, as you say, that Nick Dacos. Every time he gets the ball, he does something with it, and he puts a player in a better position. And there was a couple of times he's so clean below his knees, Jagger, and he gives players the ball in different positions that I think once the team play a bit more and understand what he is capable of, that's when they're going to start to unlock him a little bit more. Like there was a time where he got the ball from the contest and drew, I think it might have been Ross to him or even Taranto, and he gave the little handball over to Elijah, and Elijah kicked the ball forward. And just those little things of drawing attention from other players and freeing up. Carlton haven't had a player for a long time that has been able to get the ball inside and get it to the outside of a contest in the blink of an eye. It's always been Cripps or Walsh, get it in tight, couple of handballs, work your way through it. There's never been the guy to get the ball and free up space where there's no other opposition player. So I think that's why Carlton supporters are so excited for what he can do, because he's a real big point of difference compared to everybody else.
He's just a real talent. And like it's no secret the three best players in Carlton were Walsh. I think Walsh is almost going on the radar. It was Walsh and Smith now. It's not a bad throw. I thought Hewitt had some really good patches. He just kind of goes missing at times. Cooper Lord was in patches too. Like I think he's really solidifying himself as just as our genuine kind of number two inside mid after Cripps.
Yeah.
But there's just, I think, and to get a little negative here, I think our top 5 to 10 at Carlton are pretty good. I think they're pretty decent. You've got the three we mentioned. Hewitt, you'll get Chera back. I think Chera's top 10. You got Wiedering, Mackay. Like they're all very good players, right? Which most AFL clubs have. It's what makes the very best clubs and the premiership teams. It's your bottom 10. It's your bottom 12 or 14 now with the bench, whatever it ends up being. But we just have a few guys like. Again, I gave crap to Reedy last week because he had 5 kicks. Like Fogarty had 6 kicks and missed a goal from the top of the goal square, which pretty much could have put the game. It would have got some momentum going back. It would have really dented Richmond's little comeback. And he didn't. Hudson O'Keefe, I know he's young, I know he's big, but he's not there yet. You can't have zero impact in the air when you're that big. You simply can't. So there's some guys that give us a bit of trouble. I can't quite work out Brody Kemp yet. I like him up forward. We don't deliver very well to him. I think him and Mackay need some time to work together. I think we'll see I can't remember the other young Moyer.
Ashton Moyer,
next week. Next game, I should say. I think he'll get another go because I believe he played pretty well in the twos.
He did
in the practice match. So I think we'll get some guys. I think they've got you get Newman back, you get Haynes back. There's 2 walk-up starters to your back 6. Then you can maybe throw a guy like Zach Williams back forward as your small forward instead of Fogarty. Great move by Voss. I think he waited a little too long, but moving soon as he moved forward, he kicks a goal, which was the biggest goal of the game because it basically put Richmond out of it, except for the umpires trying to get him back into it with that Lynch free kick, which we won't go too much into that. But I think it allows you some flexibility getting Newman and Haynes back. So I think that Williams will end up playing forward more. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where they're trying to go with Zach Williams with the preseason and the start of this season being so sort of light on back runners. Like they had Ollie Florent, who I think played really well. He had a really good game. He had 24 disposals, so he sort of had a great sort of game off the half-back line, but the ball was just coming in so much in that second half that he sort of had to defend a bit more. And, you can bury the lead. We've got Sard as well, who's, I think
Sard might be done personally.
But I feel like I agree. But when you've got someone like his sort of caliber and sort of nous of the game, you can't always push guys like that aside.
And he played quite well in Sydney, in fairness. Like in the first half, I think it's unfair to rate. If you're going to rate Sard off his second half in Sydney, then you may as well drop the entire team, because every one of them were awful in that second half. So you just got to look at them all as a whole. I think in that first half in Sydney, he actually played quite well, gave us some run. But they've got some flexibility. The bottom line is they've got some flexibility coming back. And there's some guys that, like I know Cuttrell's coming back. He's going to put some pressure on Elijah Hollands. I think Ollie Hollands is pretty safe, but he's just got to get his efficiency up a bit.
Yeah.
And win the ball a bit more consistently. He flashes, but I think there's some good. Getting Newman and Haynes back in particular are two very, very good. It allows you a very strong back line.
I wouldn't also be surprised watching the reserves practice match the other week when we play Melbourne in 2 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised to see Blake Acres back in the side for the next couple of games, just to see how that goes on the wing, because as much as Carlton fans, as much as Carlton fans worry about Blake Acres' disposal efficiency, he gives you a lot of run and he's a very good defensive wingman, which I think watching the game live as I did on Thursday, Richmond started to really come into the game when they were able to get a lot of overlap run from their wingers out wide. And that's something Blake Acres stops. He doesn't allow that easy kick out there. So it'd be interesting to see how they go going forward there.
And you know what Acres does? He gets the ball.
Yeah.
He wins the footy. So you can show he was very average last year. His disposals probably not up to the scratch of AFL, but he does have a lot of benefit too. Like if he was named in the side, I'm not storming the castle saying why are we playing Blake Acres. Like I think he gets a lot of footy. He's very polished. As I said, he's a very good defensive wingman, which is probably what we're lacking with Ollie Hollands. I don't think he gets back enough. He's very good. He's very good going forward.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know going forward with this Carlton team. I think a week off's nice. Did we have a clip from Bossy to play? Because I think he really nailed it. Which he, personally, I think he always does in his press conferences. Like I think he's terrific.
Let's have a listen to what he said.
That we've spent a lot of time.
If Bossy wants to start,
we've spent a lot of time within our group ensuring that we value what is happening on the inside, and we see what's happening inside, and we've seen the shift in that energy. This meant a lot to our players tonight to be able to get the job done. But we're not looking at it as through rose-coloured glasses either. There's some realness in where we are. We accept that we're not the finished product. We have work to do, but what we won't do is not celebrate when we need to. Because you work very hard for those moments to sing that song. You work very hard to have those moments in the locker room together, doing something like that together, and so we will celebrate it, and we won't be taking our eyes off that no matter what anyone says.
Yeah,
I think that's such a great point from him.
Yeah, and I think as a lot of times in sport, it gets a bit lost in the wash, especially at professional level, that you're not allowed to enjoy yourself in sport anymore. Because it's your job, you're a professional. You've got to always be like, cool, job's done, move on to next week. Where I think a lot of the time, and you could argue that that's what happened with Charlie Curnow last year, the enjoyment of playing football at Carlton got taken away from him. So he was like...
I believe he barely played yesterday as well, from what I've heard, from the stat sheet anyway.
Well, we want to talk about Sydney. They dismantled Brisbane, so maybe they're just a really good football team.
Potentially. I think they're going to have some say in the finals.
Absolutely.
To go out on. But I think with Boss though, I think when I heard that, I think I heard it on the Saturday. It might have been the Friday, and I was feeling a bit deflated about it. And I heard him say, and I was like, you know what? Why? We hate Richmond. They used to absolutely own us when they were in their run. Every game we'd start the season with them first game, and they would be pumping us by 10 goals every single time. Why can't we enjoy the win? I know it wasn't the win we all wanted. Trust me, no one, My health can't handle games like that every single week. So no one wanted that to be over at three-quarter time more than I did. I wanted them to kick 7 goals in the third quarter and go on and win by 50 points and they just have some fun in the fourth quarter and who really cares, pad the stats, right? Doesn't always work out that way. They've got 23 now guys on their team as well that they want to win, they want to play, they've got fans that are watching them. I think any day you get a win, you need to count it. Now, we can analyse and talk about how we're not happy with it, which we have. We can talk about some negatives about the game. We can talk about some positives. If we'd won by 80 points, we still would have had some negatives and positives to this game because that's the nature of the sport, right? No one's going to be perfect in that. We might have still been going, well, we won by 80 points and our keeper only had 6 kicks. Like, what was he doing? So there's always going to be a way. The bottom line is what I take from Voss is, you always celebrate. First game of the season on the MCG, Jagga's success in the first quarter. They never fell behind. When push came to shove, they did it when they needed to. Zach Williams kicked that great goal, and then they would have got that defensive stop if not for the umpire being an absolute twat and calling that shepherd. Because if you're going to call that a shepherd, then every time anyone goes forward, just give a free kick to a forward who's getting pushed out by his man. So it was a terrible decision. And for everyone out there that says he looked back at him, it's not a fucking rule. The rule, you can look at anyone you want at any point. He looked at him to see where he was, and then he placed himself in between him and the drop of the ball. He could have done a better job at it, Lewis Young. He could have gone up and pretended to mark the ball, which he did a little late. The bottom line is, if you're going to call that shepherding, get ready to call every single contest going forward shepherding, because that's all the defenders do now. That's what the whole idea of zone defense is. So, terrible decision. At the end of the day, they got the lead when they had to. They kicked the goal when they had to with Williams, which was great coaching, and Walsh should be congratulated for that move late. Maybe it was too late. Maybe it was the perfect time. Maybe he threw him forward right at the right time because he kicked the goal immediately. And let's move on to the next game. Well, let's play. Like, that's it. This is what it's all about. 4 points in your pocket, move on. No one gives a shit about Richmond. It's over. We're beaten. Doesn't matter. They can go and cry. I don't care. While Lynch kicked 2-7, no one gives a shit. Tom Lynch should give a shit, but no one can kick goals in that game. So get over it. It's over now. We've got the 4 points. You don't. We're 1-2. Season's alive. Let's see what happens. Right?
Yeah. It was very swirly there at the game as well on level 1.
Well, you said that during the night because obviously we were chatting during the game, and I said, well, "How are they missing all these goals? This is unreal." And that was both teams, and you did say that you can't understand the wind if you're not here. It's crazy. It's like a tornado around the field.
Yeah, it literally, you could see guys being like, going back, even in their run up, they'd be running up for a goal and they'd be aiming right goalpost, and all of a sudden it would just go right, and it was almost like they were setting up for it to get taken left, but the wind just changed. So it was a really interesting game weather-wise, and then there was a bit of rain that came along, which I was kind of happy about because I was like, oh, maybe this will come into our hands a bit because then it will go back into more of a contest side of things where we can, but that didn't last very long. But yeah, if we want to sort of keep on the positive side of things, our current leading goal kicker, shout out, Mark Brad Pitt. Brad Pittnet is apparently he likes to call himself, as Will Hayward said after the game. But I think he's just proving all the doubters wrong that he was going to be too slow and not agile enough with this new ruck rule. That, hey, there's still room. And Max Gawn did it again today. I'm going to call out Max Gawn because that game was unbelievable. But they're just proving that there's still room in the game for your big dominant ruckman. It's not just going to become.
Range has held Pittnet personally. I think he looks more comfortable because it's not a guessing game anymore. Obviously around the ground it's always the same, but it's not a guessing game in terms of the centre breaks. It's a centre ball ups. One, it's thrown up, so it's always consistent. So if you're big and you get your timing right, which Pittnet clearly knows how to do because he's a veteran ruckman, he's got his art tuned in. He knows what he's doing. They can't mix up and do anything different with them. They can't line up sideways and come. It's just going to be the big guys now can go and compete. And I actually think Nankervich played quite well as well. He had some really good moments too. But I think big ruckman at back, and I'm almost. I love Tom De Koning. I'm not going to badmouth him. I think he's a really good player. Obviously, the cost was outrageous. I think if they paid him $1.2 million, I would have been absolutely fine with having him and Pittman on our team. but
Yeah.
they couldn't match it. He actually played quite well today as well. I know Gorn got a bit over him at the end, but he was pretty good. And I would have happily kept him on the team, but that's the price. I have no hard feelings there. He certainly didn't mail it in
absolutely
last year. So, but shout out to Big Pitnet, mate. He's looking really good. He's enjoyable to watch, and he's a real barometer. I think when he's up and about, the team really respond to him. I think he's got some good leadership traits.
Yeah, because he was really prominent in that first half, and in the second half he sort of Nankervis got on top of him a little bit around the grounds, and I think that was sort of a bit of a tell, because when Carlton were really up and about in like 2023 time, when Pitto was fit, him in the middle, he was the one sort of leading the clearances in getting the ball to our midfielders and out in space. So the midfielders like playing to him, and I think as the season goes on a bit more, that's going to become, I think, a bigger sample size, and guys are going to be able to play to that a bit better. So yeah, I think it's just a wait and see with the season. Like, I think all Carlton supporters now, even though a lot of them are still in their feelings, are realising where we are actually at. Like, if anyone was going into this...
12 new players over the last 2 weeks that have not played for Carlton before?
Yeah.
Like, give them some time. Like, in fairness, like I know I'm doom and gloom at times as well, but I've seen some bizarre human beings talking about Carlton in ways that, like, people who do, content for Carlton, which I won't name out of respect because they're actually quite good, but, like, chill the fuck out, man. Like, honestly, some dudes need to just take a very, 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 very deep breath, have a look in the mirror, head down to the AFL store, buy yourself a nice new cap and a nice new cup, and feel good about winning a football game. Like, it's not that deep. Trust me, the Carlton players are trying hard enough. As Bossy said, cut them some fucking slack when they win a game. Just enjoy it. Let's just make that our rule now. When they win, no matter what, we just enjoy it. I don't care if we don't win a game for 10 weeks and then we win one. When we win it, let's make sure we really celebrate it, talk about the positives, and enjoy it, because it is so easy to just... I think Carlton fans have become their own worst enemy, where it's so easy to just shit on Carlton that everyone's done it for so long that now Carlton fans are even doing it. It's like, we should stick fat, support our guys. It'll be fine. Like, it will come around at one point, Can I just say one thing on the second half fade outs that I've thought about before as well? The last time we had success, obviously, which gets brought up a lot, but a couple of years ago when we went to that prelude, I think you nailed it on the head before when you said guys are getting worried about losing their spots and losing the game and that sort of stuff. That season, every game for 16 weeks was basically a final. Every game was do or die. Every game was, we don't win, the season's pretty much over, or it is over, right? And they played like there was nothing to lose. Even though there was everything to lose, it was like, well, no one's expecting us to win anything. No one expected us to beat Sydney in the first final in Sydney. No one expected us to beat Melbourne in the second final. No one expected us to beat Brisbane. And I know we didn't, but we took it to them in that first half, right? We really did. So maybe there's that attitude needs to come back of more, we are desperate to win, And for them, there was a lot of desperation Thursday night. They looked desperate in that second half. They didn't look good. Don't get me wrong. There was parts they looked awful, but they certainly looked like they didn't want it to happen again. And in credit to them, it didn't. It didn't. It was close, but shit, it didn't.
Yeah, and I think once they get into that sort of mindset of trusting their abilities, that's when it's gonna click. It's gonna take getting over the line after a dour sort of game against Fremantle or someone that's going to have a bigger caliber than Richmond in the year to be like, oh, actually, we did this in these spots that we can do that again against a North Melbourne, and then all of a sudden it's all going to click. And I think that's where what Vossi is trying to say, like, we want to keep and be positive, because if we start being negative towards these guys in these situations, that's really going to hamper them on how they go forward with games. And you can see it with like guys like Elijah Hollands and stuff. You can see him wanting to bite off that kick, and it's just not quite working. But I think him still going for it, he's going to do one of those worm burners that's going to hit Harry on the chest, and all of a sudden everyone's going to be like, all right, Elijah's back. Like,
he'll find his form again. He's had a tough run. Like that,
Yeah.
you've got to just have faith in some of these guys. Like
Yeah.
it's again, you got like always understand the other team's trying to win too. The other like this is not. It's not your Division 5 EFL where one team's stacked and the other team's terrible. Like these are all professional football players. They all play under the same rule. They all play under the same cap, the same draft standards. Everyone has the same. It's a relatively even playing field, right? And the AFL has probably never been. There's never been more parity in the AFL than there ever is now. Like from the bottom to the top, any given day, I think an AFL team can win now. There's some years, but like West Coast obviously struggle, but there's a lot more parity than there used to be. It's not just the top 8 teams are really good, the bottom 8 teams are really crap, and when they play each other, they just dominate them. Like there's more to it now. So understand with free agency as well, the doors are opening up. But just expect that there's going to be more competition, even when you're the best. Look at Brisbane; they're 0-2. Are they bad?
Yeah.
No, they played the Bulldogs and Sydney, who are probably 2 really good teams. I'm sure they'll bounce back. So take it as it comes, enjoy the wins, and I'm really happy they won. It could have been so easy for them to just throw in the flag and go in the towel and go, oh, this happens every week. We're mentally not there. No, but they fought back when it mattered, and they got it done when it mattered. In particular, the last 2 minutes when it was only 4 points, they had some big contested possessions, big clearances from Cripps in particular, and Walsh in that last couple of minutes as well. So there was a lot of positives. There was guys trying to win that game in that last 2 minutes, and don't let a tinny goal from Tom Lynch in the last 2 minutes to defer from the fact that Carlton actually took that game over and won it. Like it should have been a 10-point win anyway. I could go over that all night.
Yeah, so that's pretty much there. That's a wrap for this episode in that game preview review. But yeah, we haven't got football for 2 weeks now, so and that's VFL as well. So the guys are going to have a big break, and then we'll next show we'll have a sort of big preview of the game, because then the week after that the game would have just happened when we record our episode 5. So
we got it's Melbourne next or North Melbourne? I know it's
no, we got Melbourne on Sunday in the graveyard slot. So before we won't sort of preview that game at all, but do you expect a few changes to come in, or do you reckon that they'll sort of make the ones that we've sort of highlighted with Haynes and Newman and
Haynes 100%. I couldn't be more certain they're going to come in. I can't see any reason why they wouldn't. I think Cuttrell, if he's right, which I believe he's meant to be,
he might be. Yeah, they say in the injury reports 3 to 4, and he's been out for a long time, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come through the VFL. So
through the VFL, because I actually quite like Cuttrell. He brings a lot of run and carry. But yeah, I think if I was a betting man, I'd bet one. I'd put any money you want on Newman and Haynes coming back in, and then just see who else is available. Like I never thought I'd say this, but Motlop would be handy right now, just to throw a guy in there, like another small forward that can run around and get some pressure, like just rotating them through, giving you some chance. Should not even take Owies at this point, but we can thank Owies very much for Jagga Smith. So we well done, West Coast.
But I think with I think Fogarty, unfortunately, he'll miss out, and they'll bring probably Ashton Moyer back in or even give Taylor Byrne a try, which would be interesting to see, because they're going to need to be quick against Melbourne. Watching Melbourne today, those two, they got the 2 Pickett boys. They got Van Rooyen played really well. They're not going to die wondering Melbourne. So we'll preview that all next week. Yeah. And what's really going to be interesting as well in the VFL, Tasmania's debut, which is really cool to see. So they're debuting against Coburg.
When do they come into the AFL? Not this
3
season,
years.
not the next one. Is it 3 more fulls for this season and 2 more, is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it's 20.
Yeah. That's why none of the players want to sign more than 3-year deals, because they know there is going to be money from Tasmania if they want. Apparently, Dacos doesn't want to sign a long-term deal, which I don't know if it's just a bit of piss and vinegar at the moment, but all reports are he's not too keen on signing more than a 3-year deal, because there's going to be a lot of money coming from Tassie, which is what happened with Gold Coast and GWS as well, in fairness.
Yeah, they got Gary Ablett. No one ever thought Gary Ablett would leave Geelong, and he did. But
and GWS got Israel Folau. Never forget.
God. And Israel Folau mention, I wouldn't have thought that was going to happen. But yeah, that's going to do us for this show for this week. We got a win. We're on the board. Be happy. That's all I can say to Blues supporters.
Go Blues. Enjoy it.
no one was more frustrated with me, but when that siren went, I yelled to the heavens. It was good to see. But yeah,
it was relief.
Blues get over the Tigers in 4 points. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be on next week, same time, to preview the big Melbourne game and go through probably what's been happening in the media about how we should have destroyed them or whatever is going to come out. But that's all for the next podcast. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Go Blues.